You look at the crime that they end up causing.
Right.
You look at lives that are taken unnecessarily because people who were told not to enter here and disrespected our country's laws every step along the way are allowed to stay.
So was there any video at all? Because it looked like they videoed everything.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be admissible? It's like, hey, these guys really were,
They were wearing masks.
I don't know. Were they masked during that?
Many of the people who attacked the guards were wearing masks.
Wow.
And so the argument then becomes, well, how do you know that was him?
Yeah, wow.
And so, of course, non-citizens have due process rights under the Constitution, same as everybody else. So you can't charge them with attacking the National Guard and illegally invading the country. I love this quasi warfare reality that we're currently in, where Ukraine is not the U.S. versus Russia because the Americans that are fighting there are fighting there privately of their own volition. And U.S. troops aren't actually fighting. They're just providing intel. So we are not at war. And then you have citizens of a foreign nation attacking our National Guard at the border, but as individuals. So there is no...
there's no invasion.
There's
Don't
no invasion
worry.
at all. Yeah, just millions of people pouring through the border.
It hasn't been formally declared. January 6th was an insurrection, right? But this is not an invasion.
No, they're just coming to shop at Walmart. That's all. They're just coming. They're Walmart shoppers who are masked because they don't want to get any sort of infections. That's
Well, you know, the reality is they are. One of the interviews during the migrant caravan a few years ago, the LA Times asked one of the migrants in the caravan why they were coming, and he says, "I miss Buffalo Wild Wings." They want it, and I was just like, "There's Buffalo Wild Wings in Mexico City."
Sounds like he's seeking asylum to me.
Yeah.
That guy really needs our help.
They got beat-ups in Mexico City. I went there. It was great.
It's cruel and unusual to not allow them to go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
You're right.
Or Mission Barbecue.
Yeah,
It's remarkable.
And that Mission Barbecue is also good.
We can
That was
sit
great.
around and make
I love
all
Mission
these
Barbecue.
jokes. This, like, you know, for like 5
world's
minutes.
burning down.
And we all know that there's not going to be anything done with with the border, with the current administration.
No.
And if they get reelected, if the administration gets reelected, nothing will be done. And the American people generally agree, right? Like Americans broadly are like, if you have people coming to the country illegally, we should stop them. We should say, you can't come in. Like,
They're
Especially in
almost
these record
logical in
numbers.
their
We're like,
argument.
what, 300,000 in 1 month? We ended
Is
up
it-
breaking our previous record of 200,000 in a
it's like
month.
10 million in the past 4 years or something like that.
It's complete insanity.
I mean, I don't know for
they
sure.
say
but
something like 7 million, but you know
even
it's not
still,
that.
it's outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7
That is-
million is the compromise number, and
The
it's not good.
Yeah, the idea that is not an outrageous number. That the government just sits there and says, well, I mean, it's what happened and it's not our fault, even though they got into office and repealed all of got rid of all the executive orders that the previous administration had, just because it was the previous administration and not Donald Trump was enough reason. It is absurd, ridiculous. The entire government is clown world. It's exhausting.
Well, I want to hit that because I actually talked to a DHS official today on the drive out here to wherever we're at, just saying. So during this conversation with him, he said that there are members of DHS who recognize what we're saying to be absolutely correct and factual, that this is a clown show.
Yeah.
But they're being held back by those appointees who were appointed by this administration. So I as a former guy who was, a sworn civilian and military officer, there are people like me who want to do our jobs. The problem is the politicians, the people who are appointed above them. And that's why you see this. And until something is done to remove them from their ability to influence the permanent bureaucracy, you're going to see this. And by the way, Tim, we all know it's like New York is fed up with this. I talk to folks up there all the time. They can't ride the subway. So I think it's a matter of time before their own side, your former side, I guess, really gets upset and says enough's enough. But it's going to take something to say, we got to do something about it.
I do think regular people are starting to snap.
They should.
Scott Pressler mentioned this the other night. Unregistered voters are leaning towards Trump.